What's up guys, Nightingale here, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be starting a mini-series of videos for newer players and teaching you about the mechanics and things of the different special interceptions. So this is just a quick kind of overview. I'm going to use the team that I use and just to go through and explain what you're trying to do. Now, the major thing that you need to understand with where you are in your account is things are going to get a lot harder to do depending on the units and the compositions you have. While I'm going to do this a lot faster than you, note that it's where I am in my account. But I'm going to walk you through so that you know what you need to do so that you can keep pushing forward to get ready to finally beat and get some of these stage 9s. Now today we're starting with the absolute hardest of the 5 special interceptions, and that is the train. If you want to talk about one of the most rage-inducing experiences, this is it. Thankfully, I've gotten to the point where I just DPS carry this. Not everybody's going to be this lucky, and it is going to take you some time. Keep in mind, my units are very geared here. Most of these have overloaded gear, while may not be optimal, but they at least have overloaded gear. If we were to come over here and get back into Nikke and take a look right here, you can see that the squad that I'm going to be using today is Bunny Twins plus Scarlet Modernia. So they're full overload, almost full overload. Important piece has been overloaded, and important piece has been overloaded and nearly maxed in our glove, which will go soon. So keep that in mind as we go forward, that these things are very, very well geared. I can tell you about my first experience real quick before we jump in. And that is, I got to the point when I first started playing, I was only getting to stage 1, 2, or 3 because I was trying to just let the game auto it. It's not really the case here. When it comes time to do this, you will have to manually play that, as you will see here. Now, I've recorded a video of this to make this a lot easier for you to see. Versus me trying to talk and shoot at the same time, I can pause the video and we can point out different things. So let me go ahead and bring up this video and start walking you through this, because like I said, the first time I did this, I was only getting 1, 2, or 3. Then finally one day I said, screw it, I'm gonna go for it. And I got like around stage 9, around stage 7 of 9. And then within a next rotation or two, I beat it. And I couldn't believe I beat it. So it could be a quick ramp for you depending on where you're at. It just takes some time in getting gear on the right units. So let me bring up this media player and go ahead and let me bring it over here so I can see it. And we're gonna minimize the Nikke client and bring up my video so that we don't have overlap. All right, so like I said, this is a video from the train. And this is the team that I just used for the video here. It's it's my standard team. It's what I use for this and several of the other fights. And I'm going to probably show you this with one team or within a few teams just so that you can understand what's really going on here. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the mock battle, and it jumps on in, and we go through the load screen. So Scarlet is going to be my main DPS here that I'm going to start focusing on as soon as we get in. Now, what I want you to see right here is, look up there at the top. You can see that where tab is, the auto button. I'm going to hit the tab key, and I'm going to be turning that off here in just a second. I just got to the point where I piloted from where my cursor wasn't quite with Scarlet, so I pull it over, and so I'm trying to get on Scarlet to get her on the missile launcher that's over on the back of the train. That's where my main target that I want to be hitting first, because here's a big #1 mechanic you need to understand. If it's green, it can kill you. And there are ways to iframe this, and it's quite annoying to do. There are special ways to go through that, but you may have to do that. It's... If I understand it correctly, because I never did this, I believe you count the first 5 missile launchers that are coming off as soon as they start going, and then you spacebar, you count for 5, you let off, and it'll iframe the thing. I'm not 100% checked out on that, because I've never done that technique. The turrets will kill you and target enemies, and this will be very frustrating. This is a DPS check thing. Now, trust me, I am team for anything that BS that can one-shot you shouldn't be in this. And it shouldn't be that big of a DPS check for you, especially how easy the other 4 are. This one feels a little out of tune for the rest of the video, or the rest of the special interceptions. So let's get this going and get this started. You can see that I am focused in on it, and I have my burst turned off, and right here it is where roughly I start hitting it. So right about the time it's about to line up with Noir's head is my time to say most of those missiles have been launched, so Scarlet's ult will kill most of them, and I don't have to look. It's a visual representation because I'm playing in this ultra wide on PC. I'm able to know by the time it gets to about parallel with Noir over here, I'm in range of most of those missiles are gonna die to Scarlet. So Scarlet wipes, and what you want to see there is there's 2 missiles left up there. Now what you also want to see here is, because I have the DPS, look over there off the edge of Modernia's cannon that's right in front of Noir. You can see that there's an explosion over there, which means I actually blew up the missile launcher before it got off screen. That's very important for what's about to happen next, and why this can make this so much faster, because that's your first target. That's the missile launcher you absolutely need to get rid of first. Okay? Now, you're gonna see me right there. Because we still had burst, I was able to focus everybody in on that second missile launcher, and we get it out as well. Big gains there, where we knock it out over there. And you're gonna see that my cursor's gonna push up just slightly, that I'm gonna try to start hitting those turrets. And then I'm gonna realize, oh yeah, there are 2 missiles that are coming in on my face, and I need to take care of those. Right about now. Oh yeah, they're there. And we finish off a turret, I get another, but now, here's the next important thing. As soon as we get to the turrets here in the back, these are more important than those that I was killing over here. Because as I'm moving along, I'm wanting to get chip damage on these turrets. Because these turrets, I have been screwed over many times over on those. Because my DPS was slow, killing the missile launcher that was below, or trying to get the other one. But what I do here, and this is a general practice that I used with this team in general, is I'm going to drain Scarlet's ammunition here under control. Because while I have maximum control over the highest damaging DPS unit here, because she has been chipped, so she will have a slight, she has been chipped, so there is a chance that she will get further damage. I don't think we ever actually get her all the way down. But right now, you know, this is still one of my highest DPS units, so I want to focus down this turret. But what you want to notice here, as soon as she reloads, I'm checking my keys real quick to make sure I'm about to hit V, because I don't want to mess this up. That I want to switch over, you actually can tell by the reticle, it should start moving here. We switch to Noir. Now, the reason I switched to Noir here, we accidentally jumped. So I switched to Noir because of the way her shotgun works, and I know I can get as much damage downrange as possible here, that I can hit on those in an AoE sense. This is where I want to be aiming. So now all my firepower is coming in off of Noir here. Noir is also one of my absolutely most geared, which is why I picked her. Plus, if I get hung up, at least she's got that quick turnover on the 4 burst of the shells so that I can put enough range downrange here onto these that I can get them down if need be. Also, you should notice that I have gone ahead and turned the tab button back on, so now they're back to auto burst, so I don't have to think about when that burst cycle comes up. So we go through this, and they break that. Now, immediately, you need to snap over and start taking out the other turrets. But because of burst, the burst mode that I did, you can see that I was able to get one completely down. Now all I have to do is this other little turret. Not a big deal. For new players, getting that to here is a big step. Being able to survive that first one is your first DPS check. Getting through that first set of missile launcher and 2 turrets. Now you swing over here. Depending on where you're at, this is your next big bottleneck. Now, I got very fortunate because of where I'm at. We've already blown one up. So now they enter first full burst mode, which they didn't really need to do. I let this happen because I was not expecting what's about to happen here to actually happen. Every time I've done this run, I get to the Ring of Death. But what you're going to see here is you see that I'm aiming for it right now with Noir. It's going to show up roughly in this area. But here's what ends up happening instead. I reached stage 7. I reached stage 7 before it even had a chance to spawn its ring. And here is the thing. If you get to this point and you fail to break that ring, it is an instant one-shot, so you do need to stop the run. Do not risk it. I know that it's going to be very, very, very tempting. Yes, it's tempting. I've tried racing it thinking, okay, maybe I can get it. And I've lost runs. This is the one that I consistently have screwed up on and left my runs short, which has kept me on these weird cycles of getting gear. So I now have the DPS to blast through this. I was not expecting this. Maybe this was just a very lucky run, or maybe finally my gear is caught up in damage, that I'm now doing enough damage that I don't have to do that ring. But I'm trying to make sure that I normally switch to Modernia there if Noir hasn't been reloaded, because I want to put as much damage into that ring as possible, as fast as possible. Well, now comes phase 2 of the train. Now, this works like everything else you're used to seeing, except there's going to be the one annoying factor here. So we break in, and immediately we're about to get barraged with rockets. So the new mechanic here is you're going to get sprayed with rockets. These rockets need to be priority number 1 until that ring of absolute annoyance shows up. Now, this will constantly keep spawning very, very quickly. And it is a instant failure if you do not break that ring. So you need to be constantly keeping an eye on your rockets, because this is what will sustain you to beating it. But you want to make sure you pop that ring. I had horrible aim because I overshot, and I finally beat it. Now here's the thing. I beat this in 57 seconds. My normal runs were roughly 70. Now she said I always give her a little head pat whenever she shows up, so I always pet her with the cursor. And then this is the DPS. So this is what I wanted to show you here. I need to bring this over here because that is way too hard to read on my screen recorder. So Modernia ended up coming out on top for overall best DPS unit for you, or for me on this run. Then it came Scarlet naturally because of the multiple bursts and just where she's built, and Noir came in just behind them. So in this sense, this was very much 2 pilgrims to win. Not everybody has this. And what I'm trying to say here with this is this is going to come down to understanding mechanics and what do you have available to you to use. If you can go through this with the units you have, because this isn't very, it can be unit specific. It can be, I've seen people do this with A2. I've seen people do this with a invested Alice. I've seen people do this with shotgun teams. I've seen people do this with a bunch of different things. I've seen people talk about the Snow White one-shot comp here. Makes sense. You don't want to deal with it. But this is the team that I've invested into. Not everybody's going to have the same mileage, but if you apply the same techniques and aim to take out the certain pieces at the right times, that's what the most important part is here, is understanding that mechanic. Because it took me a little bit to understand exactly what needs to die and where. Obviously, when you get pounded in the face enough with a missile launcher and you're wondering why, okay, that's why. That's why I'm dying, because 5 rockets come off, a unit is dead. There is no ifs, ands, buts or about it. That unit is dead. Okay, well, we kill the missile launcher. What's next? We have the 2 turrets. They're gonna take somebody out as well. Occasionally, I would get lucky, and the indomitability of Blanc would save me, and I would move on to the next phase. Now that I'm just straight DPSing it down, there is no indomitability. They die. So overall for the run, it's a 2-phase mechanic thing, and it's really a mechanic check and a unit check for you as a new player. I cannot tell you how vital that first 5 seconds is of this match. This first 5 seconds of getting on and aiming at missile launcher number 2 in the back is the most important thing you can do when fighting this run. Then taking care of turret 3 and 4 is your next highest priority. But because of how we've done this, we were able to not only take out missile launcher 2, but missile launcher 1 up in the front end, all in the same burst cycle. This is just because of gear carried. This is the one, it is probably most acceptable for you as a newer player or a returning player, whatever you happen to be, to go, okay, as long as I'm getting up in the 7s or 8s. Now, why do I say that is if we come back to, turn this off and we come back to Nikke, just to understand this a little bit more, when we come to look at this from Interception, it's about where we sit in the gearing. So as rewards go, if we can get to this box here where we can start earning manufacturer gear, getting to stage 7 is a big deal. So even if you whiff the next stage, which is arguably a million times easier than the front half of the stage, I understand because it's probably an ammo capacity thing. Believe it or not, that's probably what you're failing. Is reload speeds or your ammo isn't set up quite right, because you've got too much ammo on something and it's not reloading at the right time, or you don't have enough ammo and it's reloading too soon. So when you get to that second phase and you fail maybe that ring break and that's what's killing you, that's probably what's happening, is getting into that weird section of ammo. But as long as you're able to aim for stage 7, getting this 35% chance, albeit or 36% chance, to get manufacturer gear is a big deal. And the only reason why I'm saying I don't think is because I don't believe it is back here. Yeah, stage 6 is normal gear. You're wanting stage 7 to start getting your manufacturer gear. So this is still a huge up, because I remember one of the first few times I got a stage 7 on this, I did get a manufacturer's piece of gear. Now, call it luck, because that was a 30% chance, because I still lose it at an 80% chance. It happens all the time. I will get this way more than I will walk away with these. So try to be patient with this one. Most accounts will beat the other 4 long before you full 9 of 9 this run. Take it in baby steps. Let those other 4 gear you to beat this one. Yes, you can abuse some very annoying mechanics, but your mental health is honestly more important than the sake of wanting to punch your computer monitor because of how annoying this thing can be because of the stupid absolute instant kills. So, as far as units to use, it's gonna be down to what do you have on your account, because you can't really go out, and I wouldn't recommend just going to pull for let's get through this stage. More of let's try to maximize your damage. Try to make your team synergize. Maximum damage is what you should be looking for. And for my case, it's double pilgrims with the bunny twins. It works for me. I don't have any other teams really geared up enough. I don't have my A2 geared enough to successfully do it all the time. She needs more investment before I can honestly do that. Her skills are 4-4-4. She does have the pieces of gear to overload, but I don't have the time for it yet. So when we get to that, I could definitely do her. There's a few others that are starting to get up in damage, but they're not ready yet. This is hands down my best team to use for this. So if you guys have any questions about the train and being able to beat this absolute jerk of a interception stage, let me know in the comments below. I'll try to help you guys out as best as possible. Again, remember, this is a DPS check. That's really what this one is. They all kind of are, but they all are not. The mechanics on the levels of BS drop dramatically from this one forward. So thank you guys for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.